Russell Crowe, Shane Black, and a giant cigarette-smoking bumblebee.
Idiot, you didn't know that?
I'm a detective, and we have a code.
Unless you're a ventriloquist.
Fuck those guys. You can always see their mouths moving.
You guys want to see my dick?
Unbelievable.
Oh, all right.
Good morning, Los Angeles. Today, yet another Stage 2 smog alert. The AQMD has cautioned residents not to stay outside or engage in unnecessary exercise before 6 p.m.
1986, I met Shane. He had written a script called The Shadow Warriors, and everybody was like impressed with the script, but nobody wanted to make it. And then he had this idea for Lethal Weapon, this action movie with a lot of humor. I felt he was so talented and he was so interesting as a fellow, and we got together again in about 2002 when he wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bang himself, and then he wrote this around the same time with Anthony Bagarossi.
We wanted to do a private eye piece. I have affinity, real love for detective stories.
He has just such a vast library of books. We had a love of these kind of 70s detective fiction books. What we ended up doing is consciously saying, instead of getting the influence from the 70s, let's set it in the 70s.
Came up with probably 3 or 4 separate plots, separate mysteries that they're called on to solve.
So I loved it, and I said, okay, I'll take it as spec script.
We went around, we thought maybe it could be a TV show.
We've done several versions, one for television that didn't go.
And then in 2009, decided to make it into a feature-length film for Joel.
Finally, after that many years, we resurrected it. We're lucky enough to land 2 powerhouse actors.
Ryan and Russell said we want to be in the movie.
These people do something that they get paid that money for a reason. It's not something I could do. It's not something you could do.
Alchemy, magic.
On a fundamental level, it's a good detective story.
You've got one character that's got everything going for him who's just on a moral slippery slope.
You have reached March investigation.
Holland March. I think he's pretty proud of being a functioning alcoholic. I guess I don't understand why we're not celebrating. He's found a way to sort of tread water. We're all having a drink in the afternoon and get along and support his daughter.
Holly, she thinks it's really cool that he's a detective. I can help you. Seriously?
I love you.
She really wants to make sure that he doesn't make a fool of himself.
And then you have another guy who really just wants to be useful.
Jackson Healy basically breaks people's arms for a living. And he has a problem with it, but I'm not sure he's really connected it to the fact that he breaks people's arms for a living.
Sure.
And what?
But he's also the one in the midst of March's excuses and grandiosity, false thinking, finger pointing, all this stuff, who will step up suddenly and say, wait a minute. I think you missed something here.
Amelia fell off my radar.
Your radar? Your radar?
The 70s films had all these different kinds of villains that we liked. The sort of down and dirty guys who were like hired muscle. And then every once in a while, there were these complete creepy psychos.
There's 3 great villains: Blueface, John Boy, and Old Guy.
And he's not really a thug, but he's a thug.
You got like an apartment up here?
I have my crony in training, and he's like the boss's son. He has to come along, and he gets a little overzealous.
My character actually starts out Gold Chain, right? Because he loves gold. Once this happens, now he's Blueface.
The actors playing them, they're great villains. All of the side characters in this are not really side characters.
You ever hear of John Boy? By now he's heard of you.
I play John Boy, who's sort of a fixer assassin. He's the guy you bring in when other people can't get the job done. Here's my 9mm. Got the vest for protection. I packed light today.
He had these gloves. He had black gloves that he never took off, and they just really creepy.
Nurse Holly.
There are handcuffs behind the bar, asshole. Get them.
One of Shane's big loves is the man in a suit in a lot of action. It's a kind of a juxtaposition between the romanticism and a lot of bloody violence.
March! Go! I got this!
First and foremost, we didn't throw any kid through a window. They were all adults. I come from an era where a lot of Shane Black's work came onto the big screen, and he's a phenomenal storyteller, and we just wanted to be a part of that as opposed to doing gags just for gag's sake.
Russell is good at physical comedy. Even though I've never seen him do it, he can subvert it. You think you're gonna go right, and he takes you left.
For Healy, we really wanted to get inside the fight scenes with him and really make him look strong, hearty, dominating.
Ryan has a magnificent innate sense of timing.
The most fun piece with the March character was actually once he was able to get hold of a racy Camaro. You know, it's all very nice jumping in the car, drifting around corners and making it look cool. However, would his character do that? And the answer is basically no. So he comes around the corner, not quite knowing what he's doing, but just is able to hold on to that last turn, only to get shot upon, lose control, hit the ditch, and go into a tree stump.
He's like a schmuck 90% of the time, and then every once in a while he has these moments where everything comes into focus.
I think I'm invincible.
At least in the film, they're the moments that matter.
Mark my words. People are stupid.
The entire film, he doesn't make one good choice.
We put him through so much physical duress in the film, and there's this kind of hangdog quality that comes from having to stand back up after he got walloped. They're both very good at that.
For the birds?
Hallelujah.